All right, ready to rock?
Yep.
3, 2. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the Brofict one, AJ. Joining me, as always, man with the number, sportsbook whisperer, college basketball guru, daddy of the diamond, all hail, the king of the links, the money train, Noah. How you doing, bub?
Hey, we're good. We're good. Had some NFL preseason this weekend. A little PGA Tour playoffs. Things are starting to heat up in the sports world. We're getting towards the end of that those dog days of summer, and there's certainly plenty going around as far as headlines. I know that's a big thing, but as far as like actual sit down, watch it on the TV, we're getting towards the end of that, the MLB season as well. These races heating up there a little bit, and yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. I'm ready for football to be back though, and that's right around the corner, man. I mean, before we know it, we're going to be hitting, week 1 of college football. First AP preseason poll dropped. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that in a moment because we've got a lot to talk about, Noah. Headlines were galore over the weekend and today, so we will get to all of that and more, including our AFC North, AFC East division breakdowns. Before we go any further, though, do just want to shout out everyone watching here on Rumble, YouTube, X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. And McCormick, how you doing, bub, in the chat? It is not spooky season. Okay, it's not Halloween season. I do not recognize Halloween season until about mid-September, late September. And I'm not, it's not like I don't like holidays, Noah. I enjoy holidays.
I'm an October 1st guy, but I know that's not the most popular opinion, but I'm like...
And I'm fine with that too. You know what I mean? I think every holiday should have a month. And that's what they're there for. You know what I mean? And because... it is a nice 3 months that we get, with Halloween, Christmas, and Thanksgiving. Can't forget about Thanksgiving and Christmas and that, kind of going there. And then you get the New Year's festivities and the bowl games and everything. Like, I like it, but let's just let it be. Let me enjoy the end of summer, but without seeing, brown leaves and stuff everywhere. Now, granted, we don't really see them out here in Arizona, but it's just in the stores. But I don't know, man. I'm not there. I'm not there. Oh, McCormick, it wasn't a joke. Don't backpedal now on me, bro. Don't you backpedal on me now because we're calling it out. But anyway, Noah, one thing that you can't really argue about is a lot of money, Noah. You know what I mean? You can see a lot of money and you're like, God, that's a lot of money. And then you look at like contracts, NFL, NBA, at TV right deals, Noah, those contracts tend to be fairly hefty, and the UFC getting a taste of how hefty it is to be in the live sports market right now, as UFC Dana White have announced, along with CBS and Paramount, that the UFC has signed a deal, 7-year, $7.7 billion exclusive streaming deal with the UFC on Paramount. So UFC events will be available on Paramount Plus. Not only that, but certain UFC pay-per-views, the numbered ones, some of the big ones, are going to be on CBS Direct. And so you're talking about, a completely different platform than they're going from, Noah. No more pay-per-views, no more overly... I hate to say overpriced, because it is, most of the fights that I've ever paid for have been worth the ticket of admission. Dana White and those fighters know how to put on an incredible show. And so I will say, I think this move more than anything is not only getting away from ESPN, because ESPN did, I thought, a good job of covering the sport and allowing the sport to be covered, but getting away from pay-per-view, more eyes, less of a pocket. It's like $1,200 to watch every UFC event right now, and it's going to drop to about $128 a year with your Paramount Plus subscription. And so that right there, UFC fans are going to see that. Plus, if you already have Paramount, you're bored on a Saturday night, hey, let's throw it on. But there was a bigger point to this. No, I don't remember, but good move for everyone involved. Getting it out of ESPN. Glad it's not there, so that I'm not paying, $80 for the stream to crash halfway through, because that absolutely sucks.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And that's what pisses me off the most. I pay $80 or whatever it was, and then I lose stream halfway through, or it's buffering, and it's ridiculous, especially with how big Disney and the UFC is. It was ridiculous that was occurring, and so going to Paramount, we'll see. They've been able to handle it. They can handle NFL games on Paramount Plus, so handling a good UFC crowd won't be bad. But big win for UFC, as Game On's mentioning in the chat. Big win for the fighters with this huge influx of cash, because not only that, but then you get, the incredible gates that they do. And fans, yeah, you're saving a shit ton of money to watch these fights. And, it's one of those things where me and the girl, we have nothing to do on a Saturday night. Yeah, we'll buy a fight or something like that if it's a good enough card. But now maybe we're a little bit more inclined, or maybe we'll throw it on in the background if there's no football on or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
or if there's just one particular fight on a given card that you want to watch, now you can just tune into that one fight without having to spend $80 to $100 on the entire card on pay-per-view. And I think their viewership is going to massively increase. And I'm sure, obviously this deal is pretty sizable, but I'm sure whatever they're going to be making now in ad revenue will more than make up for, whatever those pay-per-view costs are. And I'm sure Dana White, UFC, they're smart enough to know this is a good business decision. Well, they're not going to affect, I don't think, their profits at all in that bottom line, yet you're going to have a lot more eyes on the sport. So
absolutely.
All around a good move. I think everybody wins here with this one.
Yeah, no, definitely. And Game On mentioning, exposure for the fighters is going to be huge. You're available to more eyes. You're at a cheaper, I hate to say cheaper, but you're at a different pay scale. And so it's easier for fans to get in to watch those big ones. And CBS, Paramount, whatever it is, however you want to call it, is going to end up throwing on some UFC shows that are dedicated to just the UFC, whether they bring on Chael Sonnen and DC, or whoever else in the sphere, maybe sign Ariel Helwani, sign some of these guys that are out there on the fringe. But they're going to be bringing in guys to make content and to have shows that focus on the UFC. So this is going to be great for everyone. This is an epic move, and not something I thought I was going to wake up to and see on this Monday morning. No, I'll tell you that much.
No, a little bit of a surprise, but a welcome surprise at that.
For sure. I'm excited, man, because and that's a great point. I didn't even think about it. I can't believe I didn't think about it. If it's a one fight, if I just want to watch the main event or just want to watch a fight on the undercard, no need. That's fantastic. And then I'm not burning a whole night. This is going to be good for the sport. No, this is good for the sport, good for everyone.
It's definitely going to get more eyes. Definitely going to get more eyes on it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. A lot more eyes on it. Anything else on the UFC or CBS or, doing epic stuff?
No, that's all I got with that. Obviously a big news headline, but I don't think there's too much more to be said about that right now, other than, again, I think it's a deal where all parties involved win. Everybody wins. Yeah. The fans win, the fighters win, UFC wins, CBS and Paramount, obviously good on them too, to have the exclusive rights.
When was the last time that we talked about a streaming deal and we said it was a win for everybody involved? Has that ever happened?
And maybe, I don't know, but it's been a while if it has, because usually somebody's getting shorted or shafted.
And usually it's the fans, but...
Yeah, like when the NFL decides they want to put playoff games on Paramount, and then it's like, well, now I gotta, or on Peacock, and it's like, well, shit, now I gotta sign up for a fucking Peacock subscription for 1 month.
Yeah, or I gotta find someone who's free that time that has Peacock. That's okay with me, just chilling on their couch for 4 hours, but...
Yeah, but this one's
great.
Good deal all around. I don't think there's any losers in this. I think everybody benefits.
Yeah, except ESPN's the big loser here. They're going with this new direct-to-consumer thing. They announced some new deal with Fox, where apparently if you buy the ESPN thing, you get all of Fox Sports' incredible content, Noah, because they're doing fantastic stuff over there.
All the incredible content at Fox Sports.
So you get that included with your new ESPN direct-to-consumer one, because ESPN promised that this app will be better, Noah. It will be better, and it will actually function most of the time, and maybe not have you sign in, 45 times within 15 minutes just so I can get into a fantasy draft.
Yeah, that's a Disney issue.
Yeah, my wife. So
I fucking run into that ESPN,
every
Hulu,
time.
whatever it is, and then Disney's like, nope, you got to sign into my Disney.
You're like, okay, fine, I'll sign into mine. Can I reset my password for mine, Disney? We've sent you an email. They don't send you in the email. So then you ask again. We sent you the email. They don't send you the email. You ask them again. Sir, if you ask us one more time, we're going to lock your account permanently. And you're like, well,
Or Disney loves to do the thing where it's like, oh, change your password, and then you put in your password. Like you're like, oh shit, okay, I forgot my password. Let me change it. I'm gonna put something else in, and they're like, cannot use an old password. And you're like, well, why the fuck didn't that work the last 3 times when I tried to log in with it? And they're like, sorry, you can't use can't use an old password.
great stuff. Great stuff coming from the mouse, Noah. Great stuff coming from the mouse. And they really need to fix it. I mean, it's anyway. I'm not going to spend the next 25 minutes bitching about all of those problems. Anyway, Noah, it is football season. Noah, we had some big preseason games, and this weekend, my biggest takeaway, besides the Arizona Cardinals preseason game, where Kyler Murray, besides one interception that like you expect a freshman in high school to make consistently, but not, a quarterback in the NFL anyway. I'm not going to hang up on that. He looked incredible besides that pick early, but the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from the reaction of fans and the reaction of, respected members in sports media is that Shedeur Sanders is already having his bust being made in Canton and is going in for sizing next week for his jacket. I believe the first game of the season, the Browns have now announced that they will be retiring his number. And so he will have to switch numbers going into the first game because of what he did.
Hey, he's earned it.
I mean, I listen, I can't remember the last time that anyone got this excited about a 5th round draft pick playing second and third strings. And granted, was this 5th round draft pick? Maybe dropped in the draft for whatever reason because of what GM saw, didn't see, attitude, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Who knows? But it's just unbelievable that there's so much hype around him playing against guys that, no disrespect, again, they've got farther in their NFL dreams than I ever could, but they're going to be doing what I do next week and selling insurance. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I can't get there. Like, good for him for going out there and having a good game and, showing everyone that, yes, he can play quarterback competently, but I'm going to need to see a hell of a lot more out of him besides one preseason game before we even talk about anything, considering the fact that Joe Flacco is more than likely still going to be the starter going into week 1 and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing here is Shedeur is definitely above Dylan Gabriel on the
yes
on the depth chart here, despite Gabriel being drafted ahead of him. I think it's pretty clear that Shedeur is number 2 on that depth chart behind Joe Flacco right now. I anticipate Flacco will be the starter week 1. I wouldn't be surprised to see Shedeur get a stab at it at some point. And if you're the Browns, I don't think you have anything to lose by just literally starting Shedeur Sanders for like the entire season, because either he sucks and you have, the number 1 or a top 3 overall pick going into next year, and then you just fucking scrap it. And you didn't use a first round pick on a quarterback, so you're not stuck with a first round contract. And so if Shedeur doesn't work out, they don't lose anything from it. And if he looks halfway decent this year and wins some games, then you have a guy on a 5th round contract that you can go into next year and be like, all right, let's see how he grows from year 1 to year 2. So yeah, I really think it's a win-win situation for the Browns. I just think the only way that they could really fuck this up in true Browns fashion would be to just start Joe Flacco the entire year, miss the playoffs, and then you have all these young quarterbacks that you didn't really give a shot to. And Joe Flacco's like 42 years old, so he's going to retire at some point here. I think the only way you misplay your hand if you're the Browns here is if you start Joe Flacco for half or more of the season, because it just doesn't make sense to do that.
No.
Like I said, you throw Shedeur in there. If he sucks, you're drafting really high next year. and
Yeah,
that's fine. And if he does look halfway decent, then it's like, oh shit, we got a quarterback and got a steal in the 5th round of the draft. So
yeah. And we'll
it,
talk about it more when we do
yeah,
the AFC East breakdown and everything. But the last thing, it feels like more than anything, Flacco was brought in, like we've seen many a times in the NFL. You know what I mean? Start the first couple of weeks, suck towards week 5, and then you start throwing the rookies in there and everyone and see where it goes from there. But who knows? It's Browns
yeah,
ownership and GM, so
yeah. I'm not putting it past the Browns to completely mishandle this and fuck it up
well, and
because
let's not forget there's the whole Deshaun Watson situation of it all. What if he comes back healthy? What if he gets that doctor's note that says, "Hey, I am ready to play NFL football this year"?
I think at that point you just cut him. I mean,
You do what the Broncos do and just eat that big cap hit for a year, be in a bad cap situation, and then start to rebuild. Because it's
well,
like 130, $135 million cap
yeah,
hit for Deshaun.
but like, what are the Browns doing in the next 2 to 3 years? Regardless, right? Like you can't
Rebuilding.
sit
Yeah.
here and tell me the Browns have a legitimate chance at making a playoff run
Oh, God,
any
no.
of the next 2 to 3 seasons.
No.
So just rip the Band-Aid off, be done with the whole Watson shit, and then yeah, it might delay your rebuild by a year or two, but then you can actually like go into an actual rebuild and identify pieces that work and rebuild around them.
True.
That's what I would do is just say, fuck it. Like, we're not doing anything impressive in the next couple seasons. So, not that the fans or the players want to hear that, but
Yep, that's where they're headed, though. And I mean, we're going to definitely get much more into the Browns and their situation when we do our AFC East breakdown. So just wait on that for a little bit longer. But one thing I do want to commend the Browns on, Noah, is it is clear that the veterans are getting through to the rookies. And the rookies are really being sponges and absorbing everything that these veterans are bringing on and off the field. And I'm referring to Shedeur Sanders this past couple of months. He's been pulled over a couple of times. I think a veteran maybe told him that, yeah, these Cleveland police, don't worry about them. They don't pull you over if you're going over 100. As Myles Garrett was pulled over Sunday, was that Saturday? Yeah, Saturday night at 2:01 a.m., going 100 miles an hour in a 60 after the team landed from Charlotte per Mary Kay Cabot. Team is aware of the situation, but good. Hey, the vets told him, don't worry about it. They love the Browns out here, especially the police department. So just go as fast as you want, but don't hit anything and you're going to be fine. Right?
yeah, this one's kind of a nothing to me.
No.
It's, and I think, what did they say, near 100 mile an hour speeds?
The report I'm reading says foregoing 100 in a 60. So was the cop nice to him? Maybe recognized the fact that he was Myles Garrett and was excited that they got a contract done. Maybe. And then he's like, the gun says 120, but it's been known to go over. So, damn thing always busted. So
here's a ticket for going 99.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a nudge, wink, wink. Go be defensive player of the year. Cash a bet for me. I don't know. But
yeah, I mean, this one's nothing. I mean, just a speeding violation like that. Not that I condone that at all, but when you're talking about NFL players, all that, if just speeding like that, it's going to be a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
If you're speeding while drunk, different story. Then you'll get like a 3 to 4 game suspension. But just the flat out speeding, it's going to be obviously the story goes public. Myles Garrett's going to get a slap on the wrist. He's not going to miss any time. It really doesn't matter.
Or maybe if they really want to make a point, they'll make him sit out like a quarter or something like that.
I don't think they'll do that.
I don't either, but I don't know. I think it would be hilarious if the NFL just started handing out like quarter suspensions every once in a while. Like, you stiffed a waiter at the restaurant. Yeah, you're going to sit out the second quarter next week.
Like targeting in college football. Be like, oh, well, you got to miss the first half of the next game.
But not that extensive. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying make it a quarter. But that'd be like, you get the fine. You get a $25,000 fine, and you can't play the first quarter or something.
Well, I don't think there'll be a fine from the NFL either, because the NFL doesn't fine things like speeding.
Yeah. True, they don't. Do you know what they do fine for, though, Noah? Do you know what they fine for?
What?
Arguably one of the funniest things I've seen in the NFL. And I hope it's coming. I hope this is another like funny year in the NFL. Just a good, let's laugh about it. Some of these guys do what they do. Did you see CD Lamb this weekend? He wasn't on the field, but damn, did he make a play on on the sideline, brother. Holy crap, we got it right here. Don't you worry about it, Noah. Just he's celebrating. He knows his guy's open, and then boom. Blown up by the ref. And I mean, good form by the ref, getting that shoulder low. And then just running through the target, too. You know what I mean? He didn't hold up or anything like that, went through it. So shout out to the ref. One of the biggest hits I saw this weekend, I think.
Yeah, hey, preseason's underway.
For sure.
Lots of, I don't know if I call it shenanigans, but just preseason's just funny. It's a joke. I mean, I acknowledge it serves a very, very good purpose in cutting down roster sizes and everything, figuring out who your backups and your third strings are. But, yeah, I don't know. It's just funny, but
it's a good time. Cool. Yeah. Anything else going on in the sports world before we jump into football talk?
I don't think so. I mean, outside of, I'll just touch quickly. Tommy Fleetwood, unfortunately, not able to get it done once again. Was it Justin Rose ended up winning in that playoff?
Yes.
Over JJ Spawn?
Yeah.
And sure as hell, you got Scotty just creeping in there, sitting in the weeds. Didn't win, but automatic top 5, top 10, doesn't matter. Scotty's there. My favorite meme was like, oh man, Scotty's sitting 2 strokes back from Tommy Fleetwood's about to be like a predator hunting prey in a Nat Geo show.
I saw that. That was a good one. It's, death, taxes, and Scotty Scheffler is really good at golf. And and that's what's, I think, so much fun about watching him, because you go into a Sunday and he's anywhere from 3 to 5 strokes back. I would even say 7. We've seen him come back 7 strokes back on a Sunday. He's in the hunt. Like, Scotty is in the hunt and can make a move at any time and start climbing up that leaderboard and start really getting dialed in. And I think that's part of what makes Scotty so much fun to watch. And
yeah. Well, and he didn't have any particularly great round in the FedEx St. Jude's. If he did, he would have easily won. I mean, obviously finishing, tied 3rd, 1 stroke back. But he shot 3 under, 4 under, 5 under, and 3 under. Like, it's just, and that's just what you get from Scotty. Is it's just consistently good. He doesn't, in this event, he didn't have a great round, but if he posted an 8 under one of the 4 rounds, he would have won by multiple strokes.
Yeah. And that's what's so crazy about Scotty, because even when he has a quote unquote off week like this, when he's shooting how he's shooting, but
I don't call this an off week, but he just looked, it was just mundane, routine Scotty all week, and he finishes tied 3rd. Like, it wasn't a special week by any means, because the second, and again, he didn't even need to have a whole special week. He just has 1 special round out of 4 in there with what he was doing the rest, and he wins by multiple strokes. Like, it's that crazy that he looks average and finishes tied 3rd.
Yeah, guy's an absolute dog. Just an absolute dog.
Just doesn't make mistakes. That's the big thing.
He does not make mistakes. And then even when he does make mistakes, it doesn't kill him most of the time.
Reminds you a lot of a few of those Aaron Rodgers MVP years where it's just like, 45 touchdowns to 6 interceptions type of shit. Like, that's what Scotty's doing out on the golf course.
It's the type of shit Scotty's doing. It's unreal, man. It's unreal. Shout out to Scotty. Getting excited for the Ryder Cup. I don't know about you, Noah. Getting excited for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I'm thinking Spieth worked his way out of that.
Yeah.
I think Keegan would get a lot of flack for using a captain's pick on Jordan Spieth right now.
I do too with how he played. That was,
I think, a different story if he cracked the top 50 and then had a good week, at the BMW. But missing that cut for the top 50, I think there's too many other really good golfers out there right now.
Yeah, way too many. So, I mean, we'll see what Keegan does. We will see what Keegan
I still think he should pick himself, but it feels like he's not going to. He also hasn't been playing the best as of late, so.
True. We'll see what he decides to do. Anyway, Noah, you ready to get into football?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Let's start with the AFC North in our division breakdowns today, Noah. I do want to go ahead and start with the Baltimore Ravens, Noah. Ravens, a team that they played pretty good last year. Not a bad season. 12-5. I call that a winning season any day of the week. Solid season, and it does seem like they only got better. I mean, big signing with DeAndre Hopkins earlier this offseason. Questionable. We'll see if it works out signing with the Jair Alexander getting some extensions done with Bateman.
Cannot hurt anything, though, because they literally got him for fucking pennies.
Yes.
I mean, they're basically paying that guy a vet minimum contract, so if he doesn't play, it's not like it's a huge loss for the Ravens.
No, and vet minimum with a bunch of incentives tied to it, and so they can protect themselves.
Incentives, though.
No, but like a big one is, playing past week 7 or however many percentage of snaps because of what his time has looked like with the Packers.
I think he's on a base of kind of a vet minimum with the incentives. I think it only goes up to like 4-point-something million for the year, which the Packers were paying him 18 mil.
True.
So
they're paying him a lot, but I mean, when he is healthy, when he is good, he only does good things on the football field. And so
I wonder though, because I think the Packers probably knew something, especially what's kind of surfaced, but maybe not fully surfaced, that the Packers could have they were all talking about this whole restructuring of the deal and everything. And then he signs that deal with Baltimore, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, Packers could have easily signed it for $8 million or what. They've been pretty private about what those discussions were, but I think the Packers have little interest in re-signing him because I'm sure the Packers medical staff was probably in Gutekunst's ear about that. And
yeah, well, he had to pass
I imagine there's some very serious health concerns with Jair Alexander.
Well, and that would explain the contract he's on with the Ravens now. Just very, like you said, very minimum, very.
Oh, if he doesn't play at all, they're only paying him less than $2 million. So,
yeah, not bad. But I mean, if he can stay healthy, though, helps out on the defensive side in that secondary, which has been an issue of the past for the Baltimore Ravens. So we'll see what that goes. I mean, they do help with the secondary, in the draft with the Malachi Starks pick in the first round, safety out of Georgia. Loved that pick for them. Get some help over top. But, rest of the draft, O-line, some defensive issues, and, of course, probably the greatest kicker in the draft, Tyler Loop, going to your Baltimore Ravens. So
I love that, too. I love how people were freaking out. They were like, oh, shit, this guy's making 60-yarders, like, routinely in practice, in camp, in preseason. And I'm like, yo, just don't pay any attention to Arizona. It's fine.
There was that guy in preseason this week who hit a 70-yarder.
Well, and Loop's got that kind of range. I mean, I remember that New Mexico game last year we were at. It was about a 45-yarder, and he kicked it over the net.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, dude's got insane range, and it was so funny because I remember Baltimore fans bitching about that draft pick because they're like, "Oh, this guy's made less than 80%. He's less than 80% from career wise." And I'm like, literally over half of his attempts are from 50 plus.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, like it's really not bad.
Yeah, they clearly didn't understand how bad Arizona's offense was last season. I mean,
Yeah, right. So they're focusing on like this whole, oh, guys like what, 72, 73% career kicker in college, not looking at the fact that he only missed once inside of 45
Yeah,
yards.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
we
So.
we were just trotting him the fuck out there for 60 plus yard field goals all the fucking time. And so, yeah, if he's 40% on 60 yarders, like,
Hey, we had to get on the board somehow. We had to get on the board.
anyways. But yeah, I mean, Baltimore, I feel like both these divisions we're talking about today, there's going to be a clear winner. Like, I don't see anybody other than Baltimore winning this division. I will say the Ravens got a hell of a fucking schedule this year, though.
They do. It is.
Oh, it's a gauntlet.
It's a tough one.
And as a lot of previous years have been, the big thing for the Ravens is going to be how healthy they stay.
Yeah.
Because I think you look at the last 5-6 years, the Ravens have been a phenomenal team each of the last 5-6 years. There's just been a few years where they've been very beaten up at key positions, and see what happens this year. You add a little bit of help to your offense from the receiving core. I'm bringing in D-Hop to actually kind of have a wide receiver too. Hope that Rashad Bateman kind of takes another step or two this year.
Yeah.
And obviously you know what you got with Zay Flowers. And then if you get Mark Andrews coming back healthy, if he can stay healthy, you have a real fucking good offense there for Lamar Action Jackson. And we know what Lamar can fucking do. Defense looking like it should be decent as well. I've got ceiling for the Ravens at 13-4 just because of how fucking tough their schedule is.
Yeah.
I think the stars would absolutely have to align for them to win 14 plus games. I really do. And floor wise, I've got them at 9-8 because if things are not clicking, not going well for this team, they do have a tough ass fucking schedule where I don't think it's out of the question for them to potentially go 9-8. Granted, I think they still win the fucking division if they go 9-8.
Oh, no problem.
I think 10 wins for Baltimore is all you need to win this division. And 9, you still have a shot at it. And so I'm not worried about the Ravens winning this division at all. I've got them going 11-6 just because they do have that really, really tough schedule. And I do think they're going to drop some games and play in a lot of tough ones. But I assume they'll be pretty battle tested going into the playoffs. They'll win this division, so they'll be hosting against a team that's probably going to have a similar-ish record as them in the first round. Yet I think they should be pretty big favorites by maybe 7.5 points against, you look at like teams like Denver, the Chargers, whoever else may be in that position. Like, I think Baltimore should not worry if they only win 10 or 11 games in the regular season. They're going to be just fine.
Yeah,
it's just
absolutely.
a gauntlet of a schedule.
It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. And we know what Derrick Henry is and how dynamic that offense can be when you get him and Lamar starting to run. And you add that other just kind of level of DeAndre Hopkins, his route running, his ball catching ability. It helps it out a little bit more than it needs probably. But it's going to be helpful to have that depth at wide receiver, I think, for Lamar if they do get into.
I don't know that it's going to be a huge deal. We'll see what D-Hop we get this year because with the Chiefs last year, he really didn't do anything with them until the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he actually looked like one of the best players on that Chiefs roster during the Super Bowl. Not that he was used in a ton of snaps, but when he was in, it was effective. It was meaningful. So are we going to get that D-Hop or are we going to get the D-Hop that we had the rest of the playoffs and the chunk of the regular season that he was on the Chiefs where he was just a complete non-factor at all?
I think it'll be the latter. I really will. We've talked about it at length, so I'm not going to waste much time on it, but we've talked about the issues with the Chiefs and where the Chiefs are kind of at.
You think Lamar unlocks something in D-Hop, gives him a little youthful?
I don't even know if it's as much as Lamar. I think Lamar gives like So okay, Lamar Jackson is more known as a running quarterback. And so there's always, when you're, planning defensively, you always have to think about that risk of, even though he's dropping back, that doesn't mean he can't burn you for 10 down the sideline. And so I think that's going to help Lamar out a little bit more. The Chiefs weren't equipped last season for Patrick Mahomes to be that threat on the ground. And the Ravens just have always been equipped for Lamar to be that threat. And so I do think it just opens it up a little bit more because, DeAndre Hopkins had so much success with Kyler Murray. The couple of seasons him and Kyler had a good connection, and that helped when Kyler would be able to scramble out, extend the play, and then find D-Hop down the field running some bullshit route like Travis Kelce does. That's honestly why I'm shocked that the whole Patrick Mahomes thing didn't work out. And I think him also not being number one on the roster is going to help.
Makes you wonder, though, because even on the Chiefs, with that wide receiver room last year, he wasn't taking wide receiver 1 reps. And
I don't think he'll be taking wide receiver 1 reps here. You know what I mean? I think that part of his career is done.
Yeah, I just wonder how much he's going to be used, because I think the Chiefs were only using him in about 30 to 40% of their offensive play calls. I feel like to a degree, D-Hop has slowed down and is not what he was.
Yeah.
I just don't know if we fully know what that degree was. Like if the Chiefs were part of the issue there and that offense that was a little bit underwhelming, to be honest, last year.
Oh, for sure.
I will say they didn't really have a run game. Baltimore is going to have a hell of a run game. Zay Flowers is going to get the number 1 attention.
Yeah.
And D-Hop should be on that other side, if not the third option, if Rashad Bateman can take a couple more steps in the right direction. And then you could be looking at, if D-Hop's your number 3 read, I think if he's pulling some nickel cornerbacks, anything like that, he could have a real nice season. But again, I'm curious to see if it was more of a him on the Chiefs issue or if he's actually slowed down that much that rapidly, because just a couple of years ago, he was still kind of on the back end of his prime, and the last 2 seasons it's kind of, because he went to Tennessee, didn't do shit there, and then they traded him to Kansas City, didn't really do shit there.
Tennessee was not a good situation.
No, and I'm not arguing that, but then you go to Kansas City, you would have thought his numbers would increase, would jump, and they really didn't. Actually, they got worse up until the Super Bowl, where he did get a touchdown catch. But
shout out to him for catching that for me. Anyway, I've got similar numbers to you. I'm a little bit more up on their ceiling. I've got their ceiling up at 15-2, just because, like you said, stars align and every ball bounces their way, and it feels like the Ravens are due almost with how close they've been and how good they've been getting. We'll get to one other team later tonight who's feels like they're right there, but they just can't get over the hump. So yeah, I got their ceiling at 15-2. I got their floor at 9-8 as well. It's a tough schedule. It's a tough schedule, but even
it's really tough, and they could still be a damn good team and end up at a 10-7 record, or even I guess the 9-8 is more injury wise for me, but yeah, fair. They could still be a damn good team and have 5, 6, 7 losses on their.
For sure. I've got their actual at 12-5. I think they do what they did last year. I'm at the same amount of games, and it was just when I was going through it, there were too many games that came up to a touchdown in the lose column, and so it was. I don't know, man. It was a hell of a toss-up. It's a tough schedule, so shout out to the Ravens. The scheduling committee did not do them any favors whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's why I've got such a big range. You've got such a big range between their floor and ceiling, because I imagine it's going to be a lot of one-score games, a lot of tight games, and what's the record going to be in that, right? Yeah. Playing 7, 8 one-score games, it's
a grind. It's a grind.
There's a lot of variation from what could be, what is, what you hope doesn't happen. So,
well, we'll see. One team, Noah, that I have said since the preseason, don't believe the hype, don't drink the Kool-Aid. I'm still going to go ahead and toot that horn. Let's talk about some Cincinnati Bengals football. Noah, they went 9-8 last season. And they just spent a lot of money this offseason, Noah. They spent a lot of money on guys that it's about time they spent money on. No more franchise tags or anything like that. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase getting the bank rolled out to them this offseason. Besides that, they got Noah Fant. Shout out Noah Fant. Love Noah Fant. They got Noah Fant. Got some O-line help and some secondary help as well.
Okay.
But they didn't really do much else this offseason. They went into the draft, got Shamar Stewart in the first round, help out on the defense. He's reported to camp, right?
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson hasn't signed yet. No, Trey Hendricks.
They did end up getting Shamar Stewart signed. Still no deal with Trey Hendrickson. Bengals are still attempting to throw contract offers at him. He reportedly is word from his camp is none of the contract offers the Bengals are throwing at him are close to agreeable. And so he has not shut the door on coming back to Cincinnati if they can meet him where he wants to be contract-wise. But the Bengals are doing the Bengals shit, and they can't franchise tag him.
No.
And reportedly, the big differences are over guaranteed money. Bengals not wanting to give more than 1 year guaranteed. Hendrickson looking for 2.5 to 3 years guaranteed on a 4-year deal type of thing. And so they've been very, very, very much apart on the whole guaranteed money type of thing.
It doesn't surprise me. What do you want? It's the Bengals. Classic. Bengals going to Bengal. That's wild. It's wild that we're still going through this. It really is. But shout out to the Bengals holding the line, making sure they get whatever they want.
Interesting, though. I don't think he's formally demanded or requested a trade.
That is interesting. I feel like if he did that, but maybe
not that it matters because we've seen other Bengals players do that, and the Bengals just say, funny.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's
What's
a good
the trade request. We don't know what those are. Those go straight in the trash can.
You want to be traded. Here's another contract offer that you're going to tear up and throw in the garbage.
Never change Bengals. Please never change. It's so much fun to watch. But what's lost in all the craziness, Noah, is, Joe Burrow, just an absolute dog in all of this, had an incredible season last year and is looking to start hotter this season going in, as he will be playing in some of the preseason games and taking snaps doing that to, try to get, I guess, into the flow of the game a little bit quicker. So he's not week one seeing it for the first time. Whatever works for you, Joe, but no, I mean, it's preseason football. They got to have the starting O-line out there, right?
Yeah, you would think that you wouldn't trot Joe Burrow out there behind a not starting O-line. Not that I expect the O-line to be particularly impressive this year, but we'll see. If you actually look at the numbers, somehow players who play in preseason do get injured at a slightly lower rate.
It makes sense. Getting hit, your body's used to it, but
yeah, I mean, I think you get into those motions a little bit. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but I don't know that they'll have him out there a ton. I know the Packers trotted Jordan Love out there for 2 or 3 series, I think it was.
Yeah, Kyler was out there.
Yeah. I don't know. Either way, Cincy, they got to figure out what they're doing with Trey Hendrickson, but I imagine this defense is going to be awful. The offensive line, I don't have a ton of faith in, but, maybe they're okay this year. We're going to get probably the Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase show once again. Chase Brown, a very good running back out of the backfield, and, you got some decent tight ends there in Cincy, so they're going to put up points. I feel like it's going to be a very similar season to last year.
Yeah.
I don't think much has changed, and I don't think, if they lose Hendrickson, that's a big hit. But I've got, if everything goes right for them, I've got their ceiling at 11-6.
Okay.
If they're winning a number of these shootout, high-scoring games, which I do believe they're going to be in quite a few of those, because this offense is maybe the best offense firepower-wise in the entire NFL, arguably. But their defense also sucks, and they're going to be playing from behind a lot and throwing the ball a lot. So if you're playing fantasy football, go ahead and get yourself Jamar Chase, get yourself a T. Higgins, a Joe Burrow. Like you won't regret it. I've got their floor at 7-10. I really don't see them being like terrible again because I think with their schedule they're going to just overpower some of these teams. Where maybe the defense gets a couple lucky bounces, gets a takeaway or two, and the offense is just scoring 40 points on everybody, so it doesn't even fucking matter. Realistically, I've got them at 8-9. I think they finish a game under 500, game worse than last year. I think this is going to be a really like fun team to watch if you love points and want to watch high-scoring shootouts. But as far as a cohesive good team, I just don't see them being that.
Yeah, when you talk about being successful in all three stages of the game, the Cincinnati Bengals, I can't remember the last time they came to mind, to be honest. But I got their floor down at 7-10 as well, Noah. I got their ceiling just a little bit higher at 12-5 if everything goes. I do see a couple other games in those shootouts that they can win. I think they're going to go 10-7, 9-8. I don't know, man. It's not the worst schedule I've looked at. It's not the worst. And Burrow's good enough. Everyone's paid and happy. There's nothing off the field except the Trey Hendricks thing that's really distracting right now. I think they can get some done. Be a little bit more competitive this season. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see on them. All right, let's talk about one of the teams that I have probably the least amount of faith in this season in the NFL, Noah. Let's talk some more Cleveland Browns football because we've already talked about kind of the quarterback situation there, but not a lot else going on over there because due to the fact that they're kind of handicapped with this whole Deshaun Watson of it all. 3-14 last season, looks very shitty last season, and it's looking to be a lot more of the same. Just no cohesion, no real team building, just kind of plugging and playing players on 1 or 2 year deals and seeing what sticks when you throw it at the wall. The quarterback room's a mess. The draft was just crazy, dude. It felt a little bit as if they were going best available it felt like they were going on their plan until they got to the Shador pick where it was just very questionable. Like, why are you drafting so many quarterbacks and have such a big room? But
I don't know. I think they took. Yeah, that one's a head scratcher to me too. Not that I believe Shador should have been a first-round pick by any means, but second or third round I thought would have been appropriate. And it was weird when they took Dylan Gabriel, but then I don't know if it just got to the point in the 5th round where they're like, oh, shit, he's still on the board. Like, yeah, might as well. But then at that point, why draft Dylan Gabriel?
Yeah, if you got Shador in your back pocket probably later. But
well, a little bit of a head-scratcher for me, but it is what it is. The Browns did what they did. They have an overcrowded QB room. We know that. We've been over that multiple times. No Nick Chubb. You still got Myles Garrett. Wide receiver room's not looking overly impressive. Generally nothing's looking overly impressive about this team.
No.
I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league. I think Stefanski's a hell of a coach. If they can find some good quarterback play in either Joe Flacco, Shador Sanders, I don't think we're going to see Dylan Gabriel at all. I don't even think he's going to make the active roster. But
no.
I think he carry either Kenny Pickett or who else do they have on there?
Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Shador, Dylan Gabriel, Deshaun Watson.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kenny Pickett gets carried as the third emergency quarterback over. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with Watson either, but anyways, that doesn't matter. I just look at the Browns and this is an entirely unimpressive roster and team. Again, I do have a lot of respect for Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a hell of a coach, hell of an offensive coach. if everything goes right, if everything goes well, I could see a ceiling of maybe 7-10 for this Browns team.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, ceiling wise, right? And then I honestly don't think they're going to be absolute dog shit. I've got the floor for them. They do have a pretty easy schedule. I mean, when you get to play against, I believe, the Saints, the Giants, you get the Patriots on there. This is the AFC North, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns somehow steal 1 or 2 divisional games out of the 6. I've got a floor of 3-14. I don't think they're going to lose more than 3 games. And then I've got them at 5-12. Again, I don't think they're going to be absolute dog shit. I don't think they're going to grab a top 3 pick this year, but I also don't think they're going to be very good. I got them finishing last place in this division, but with the Bengals and Steelers not being, absolute dominant factors here, I again think they could steal 1 or 2 divisional games from those 2 teams. I do think Baltimore is going to beat them twice, but you never know too, because every now and then in the AFC North, just some weird fuckery happens. So
yeah. Man, I'm not gonna lie, Noah. I do have this team being absolute dog shit this year. It more than anything, it has a lot to do with there's no plan. There is no North Star. Yeah, there's no cohesion with this team, and I agree with you. Kevin Stefanski is an incredible coach, and that is why he has not lost his job yet with what the Browns have been. But at some point, someone can only turn so much chicken shit into chicken salad,
You think Kevin Stefanski goes into work and is just like, oh my God, my boss is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
He's like, really? You're asking me to win with this?
I wouldn't be shocked if he's like, what's that movie where the guy does nothing and openly says he does nothing for the company?
Office Space?
Office Space, yeah. I bet it's like Office Space.
One of my personal favorites. Love that movie.
That's a great movie, but I bet you he looks at it, at the season review. What did you do this season? I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing. I just let you make all of your moves, just plugged in, play some players, and I let this whole thing burn to the ground. It's great. No one's noticed. They think I'm trying. I think it's something like that. But I do have their ceiling at 6-11. So shout out to
there.
No, not super far off there. I do have their floor. If it goes as badly as I think it's going to go for the Cleveland Browns this year, I got their floor at 0-17. And again, I know it's so hard to go completely defeated in the NFL.
I had the only team that I had their floor at a 0 was the Saints, which by the way, I was looking. Saints over under on wins is like 5.5 or 4.5 or something like that.
Is it really?
I'm like, there were like 3 or 4 over under lines that I was like personally so far off on that I'm like, okay, I need to slam those like 3 or 4. Most of them, my prediction was within like 2 games of where that over under line was. But I think the Saints were at like 4.5 or 5.5, something like that over under. And I'm like, that is absolutely ridiculous. This team's gonna be garbage trash. And I think Cleveland was also at like 5.5. So I'd put. I mean, who knows? Maybe the Browns do suck absolute, but I'd be willing to bet good money that Cleveland wins more games than the New Orleans Saints do this year.
Well, I do have their actual at 3-14. I think they will repeat last season, win a couple of games here that people are shocked by. And yes, I do think those games will each be won by a different quarterback on the roster. And I don't think...
That's a hot take. I like
it. And then you ready for one more hot take, Noah? I don't think that the quarterbacks that the Browns go in with on opening day will be the only quarterbacks that start for the Browns this season.
You think over under 3.5 quarterbacks?
Over. Slam that over, bro.
What about over under 4.5 quarterbacks getting a start for the Browns?
Give me even money on the over. I'll take the over.
Okay, you think five?
I think it's going to be. I think there's going to be 5 of them. You got 3. You got 3 on the roster, and again, the Deshaun Watson injury, if he is cleared for football operations and everything, it's projected around between week 6, week 10. And so if that happens, and then he has to start essentially because they're paying him so much money if they don't want to cut him, that's going to be 4 right there. And then, Noah, there is the perfect storm where the team is so ass that the only solution can be to sign some quarterback off the street.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Get out from the Thursday Night Football booth. You need to suit up for the Cleveland Browns. You take one look at that roster and say, nah, I'm good. I got this cushy media gig now. I'm going to sit here.
Or they're going to be phoning up some guy like Case Keenum or...
Where's the Pastronaut at?
He's at... You mean the astronaut?
The Pastronaut.
Yeah, no, he's...
Josh Dobbs?
He's guaranteed to come in and have 1 to 2 good outings for you, and then just
you got to bring him. You got to bring him in with less than a week before the start to prepare.
Yeah, and then
that's the other key with him.
He's gonna inevitably come out and throw 4 interceptions in his next game.
Yes, yeah, just
don't
play him that next game.
He's literally duped like 3 different teams,
and it was all within like 1 season. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was all within a season.
He had a hell of a run that year. What was that? 2-3 years ago? That was hell of a run for Josh Dobbs.
Started with the Cardinals, had a couple good outings for them, and then a couple ass outings. They cut him. Then the Vikings signed him. He had 1 or 2 really good outings with the Vikings.
1 good outing, yeah,
and then 2 terrible ones. Vikings cut him, and then somebody else fucking signed him after that.
Dude, shout out Josh Dobbs. Anyway, yeah, I think the Browns are going to suck major doo-doo this year. So have fun, Browns fans. They might lock up the beer again. I'm just saying. I would hate for them to do it, but...
Yeah, well...
They might lock it up.
Last team in the AFC North, AJ.
Yeah, the last team here, Noah, and I think it's appropriate that we end with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Noah. It is a little bit past their bedtime, as this is one of the oldest teams in the league this year, but a team that has definitely pushed the chips in, all in, they're going for it. No ifs, ands, or buts. We will see how that pays off. And of course, referring to the fact that they got Aaron Rodgers, they got DK Metcalf, they got Darius Slay, they signed TJ Watt. They are doing all this stuff, and they haven't made the one crucial mistake that teams that signed Aaron Rodgers have done, Noah, and that is listen to his demands on who to bring in regarding his friends. I'm not seeing an MVS or, anyone really on this roster.
Lazard.
Yeah, no Lazard on here. I mean... So Rodgers seems to trust Tomlin. I couldn't remember his name for a second. He seems to trust Tomlin. He seems to respect what he's doing and is ready to, I hate to say buy in because Rodgers doesn't really buy into anything, but really buy into, at least going out kind of a final dance type here.
I think Rodgers has enough respect for Tomlin that he is in more of a mindset of not wanting to step on any toes.
True.
I don't think Rodgers is fully that man's ego is so damn big. He's just, it's not like the Jets where he walked in and was like, oh, I run this fucking place from day one.
Yeah, exactly.
It's been very different. I think he's going to show up and do his job. It's going to be fine. Word on the street, word out of camp is expect a lot of DK Metcalf and a lot of tight ends.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think Pittsburgh's going to be okay. Be really interesting. I know they're sitting back, waiting, seeing what develops with the whole Micah Parsons deal, because I know being a Pennsylvania kid, I know the Steelers would love to bring him in if they can make that work cap-wise. They have a nasty 2 edge rushers there in TJ Watt and Micah Parsons.
Yeah, and they should have... Oh, what? Hold on, am I reading this right? Oh, yeah, wow. This being broke by Schefter a couple hours ago. Cam Hayward may be looking at sitting out this season. due to contract disputes. So with the Steelers, so if they just something to keep an eye on, but
Yeah, and you know what? Again, I think Pittsburgh's going to. I think they're going to be very mediocre. I think they're going to be extremely mediocre. I've got their ceiling at 10-7, their floor at 6-11. I've got them going 8-9. Yes, I do have them finishing with a losing record, and maybe Mike Tomlin retires after that happens. But um, there's just not much inspiring about this team for me, and I also don't think they're going to suck. Like they have enough good pieces that they'll be fine, but I think they're going to be a boring ass team to watch per usual, and I think they're going to be in a lot of games, but I also don't see them taking control of a lot of games unless Aaron Rodgers decides to just go off and have a fucking MVP type season. But I also don't see that happening at his age right now, and I just think this is going to be a very mediocre team.
I get where you're coming from. I don't think they're going to be as mediocre as you think. I've been a little bit more generous. The schedule doesn't seem as difficult to me when I look at it for what like how this team is on paper. So I got their floor at fuck off McCormick. Okay. That is so unnecessary. Fuck off, dude. I got their floor at 9-8. I don't think Tomlin loses his over 500 record yet. He flirted last year. He tried last year, and he still couldn't do it. So I don't think he's going to be doing that. I got their ceiling at 13-4. I really
Jesus.
didn't. If everything aligns, balls bounce their way. Aaron Rodgers. Here's where I really keep going back to.
We both watched Aaron Rodgers of the Jets last year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but I just wanted to make sure that you saw Aaron Rodgers play for the New York Jets last year.
Yeah. But you've watched Tomlin coach a team with Big Ben at the end of his career, right? And he was still able to drag Big Ben to an over 500 record in his last season. Yeah. And I mean drag Big Ben's big ass over the finish line for that 500 season with that defense and everything. And so Rodgers can at least move a little bit better than Ben.
Maybe.
I got their actual at 11-6. I think they're going to be a competitive team this year.
That's aggressive.
And I know it's aggressive, but it's going to be a good team. I think it's going to be a solid team. And, they went all in. They pushed their chips, and I got to commend them for that. I do got to commend them for that. But any other notes on the AFC North, Noah?
No, that's. I think that's what I got. Obviously, going to be a competitive division. One of those where I'm sure there'll be some surprises in some of those divisional matchups. There always seems to be. Again, why I said don't be surprised if the Browns win a game or two in the division. Steal one from Pittsburgh or Cincy or whatever, because when these AFC North teams get together, it's just a mean, dirty bloodbath and great football. Great football. Great. I fucking love it. But you get some surprises sometimes, and I love a division just full of hatred. It's so great.
And there's good hatred. There's some really good hatred there, Noah. But sweet. Before we get into AFC East, you mind if we step away and refill real quick?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. Before we do that, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. If you like what we're cooking, please hit that like button, hit that follow button. It does help us out a lot more than you know. I'm the Bro 51 AJ. That's the Money Train Noah. We'll see you guys in just a moment.
Oh yeah, one sec. There was a helicopter going around outside.
All right. Here we go.
Hearing the whoop, 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 whoop.
I'm not hearing that on my end. You're good. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's up, DGens? We are back. Brofict 1 AJ Money Train Noah. We've got the AFC East division breakdown coming to you next. But before we do that, Noah, we got some breaking news coming out of the NFL as of about 42 minutes ago. It has been reported that the Kelsey brothers will have their biggest guest on the New Heights podcast to date, Noah. It is none else than Taylor Swift, who will be joining the New Heights podcast
Oh,
this week. So,
I thought you were going to say like Tom Brady or something, but
no, they couldn't get Brady, bro. Come on. They couldn't.
he's too busy taking shots at Jets fans.
We didn't talk about that. That was
That was fun.
great.
I'm not a big Tom Brady guy, but I did think that was really funny and fitting that we're about to talk about the AFC East here. Patriots putting up a statue of Tom Brady and him saying, well, this is great for Patriots fans and Jets fans because they'll have something to drunkenly, throw their beers at.
When they leave. Wow, Brady. Whew. Shout out to Brady. His retirement run has been solid. Been a fan of his retirement run. Anyway, let's go ahead, Noah, jump into the AFC East. Let's go ahead and start with the Buffalo Bills, Noah. This is a good football team. This has been a good football team for a while now. This has been a very good football team for a while now. The only issue with this football team, Noah, is that they exist the same time the Kansas City Chiefs play football. And it just happens to be in the playoffs. It is heartbreaking every time. But this team, I mean, what do you want me to say about him? Josh Allen's really good at football and is an unbelievable quarterback and athlete. This is an unbelievable offense they've put together. I love the signing of, God damn it, who was it? I can't find it right now. They signed someone I was a big fan of. There it is, Joey Bosa to help out that offense. Von Miller getting out of there. Get Joey Bosa in there. Absolutely love it. Going to be a good year for James Cook. I love Dalton Kincaid. I mean, it was hard to find the losses, Noah. It was hard to find the losses with this team because
but then on the other hand, like there's going to be some in there.
Exactly. There's going to be some losses in there. You really got to go find them.
You don't necessarily know where, but this team's going to drop some games. I don't know. I think Buffalo is going to be poised for a very, very good regular season. I actually think I have them earning the number 1 seed in the AFC this year.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow.
I think this is the weakest their division opponents as a whole have been in a number of years. I think they're going to cruise through their division games. They do have some tough games out of the division. But I think we're going to see a really, really good regular season out of the Buffalo Bills. I'm not going to talk at all about the postseason, though, because is it just me or does this kind of era we're in with Buffalo, it feels a lot like early to mid-2000s, like Indianapolis Colts, or maybe even better so, the San Diego Chargers.
Yeah.
A lot of really good years that the Chargers had. Could not get it done in the playoffs. The Colts struggled to get it done in the playoffs. It just felt like if it wasn't the Patriots, it was the Steelers. The Colts made it twice. They went 1-1. Maybe Buffalo. And the sad thing is I'm sitting here saying with this Buffalo Bills era, if they're lucky, they do what the Colts did and they make 2 Super Bowls and win one of them. If they're not lucky, it's going to be like the Chargers, who were on a, we're a top tier team in the AFC for a number of years in a row. They're with Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Antonio Gates, that whole offense defense that the Chargers had going on, and they just had nothing to show for it. And I feel like Buffalo's just on track to be in that same boat, and it's tough. But I think regular season wise outlook here, I've got a ceiling of 15-2. I've got a floor of 12-5. That is the highest floor I have of any team. I think, barring anything happening to Josh Allen, this team should have no problem winning at least 12 games. And I think there's a good chance that Buffalo ends up with the 1 seed in the AFC. I know they do have some tough ones on their schedule, but if they go 500 in those tough games, they're going to have no problem sitting up at 14-3, 15-2. I think they're more than capable of it. And so I've got a ceiling of 15-2, a floor of 12-5, kind of a narrow gap there, just 3 games separating that. I like Buffalo going 14-3 and grabbing that 1 seed in the AFC, getting the first round bye, having home field, and then they'll probably lose to Baltimore or Kansas City or somebody else.
Absolutely.
They might be hosting the AFC Championship game, but once Kansas City or Baltimore comes to town, it's going to be a sad day in Buffalo.
Yeah. We're not that far off in our numbers, no. I got their floor at 10-7, got their ceiling at 15-2, and I got them going 13-4 this year.
Okay, so you got the floor a little bit lower, though. You think
just a little bit lower with injuries and everything like that. I don't know. I still think even with injuries, they're deep enough that it won't make, it'll be noticeable, but they'll be able to cover it up good enough.
It's a very well-constructed team. I mean, the defense is, I would say, in the mediocre to good range.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a great, I wouldn't call them great or, top of the league, but they can hold their own. You got a pretty dang good offensive line. You got Josh Allen at quarterback. James Cook, who really kind of came into his own last season, should be poised for another good season. You got a decent wide receiver room, and 2 really good tight ends, 2 really good capable tight ends. And so I think we're going to see a lot of wins for Buffalo, and especially, like I said, you look at the other 3 teams in the division here, and it's maybe the weakest they've been in 5 or 6 years as a whole. As a whole, all 3 of those teams as a collective. So I think Buffalo's going to be poised for a really good season, really good regular season. I don't know if they're going to be overly tested. They do have some of those tough games in there, but obviously the playoffs is a different beast, but we're not speculating into the playoffs. We're just saying regular season record-wise, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Buffalo take home the best record in the league this year.
No, not at all. Not at all. They do have... They've got the roster. They got the coaching. They got the quarterback play. Can they put it all together and get over the hump? We will have to wait.
That is the question. That is the question.
Well, let's go to a team, Noah, that I think we can both agree got worse this offseason. And nothing truly bad happened to this team or anything. It does not feel like a team that is presenting as a united front or a team that is ready to go to battle and win football games whatsoever. Whether it's the quarterback wide receiver drama, the head coach saying that today's a good day because we're a day closer to death. Let's talk some Miami Dolphins football, Noah. 8-9 last season. And let me tell you, Noah, they did make a huge splash this offseason, signing Zach Wilson and Minka Fitzpatrick and Darren Waller. I like Darren Waller, but not the biggest move. And yes, they did do some things to help shore up a very Swiss cheese defense. But it seems like the game plan is still guys on the outside run fast, Tua throws ball far, see what happens. And with, just kind of everything going on with Tyreek and Tua, I don't know if that chemistry will be there. It seems like a very distracted team. This seems like a very dejected team going into the season and not a team that's focused on winning football games.
I think that's an accurate read.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it feels like Cincinnati Bengals 2.0 to me here.
Ooh, yeah, I like that. That.
It feels like Cincinnati Bengals 2.0. If these 2 teams, are they on each other's schedules? Because I feel like we're destined for a 55-52 type of stupid-ass fucking game.
That would be week 16, Noah. And
Yeah,
that'll be your Sunday night football game.
both teams will be at that point.
And in Miami.
Both of those teams will be not in the playoff picture, but here's my prediction. They're both going to be on the bubble, not in the playoff picture. It's going to be a crucial win that one of these two teams needs to keep their playoff hopes alive. And it's going to be some bullshit 55-52 fucking game with a shit ton of offense and minimal defense. I've got them very similar to where I've got Cincinnati. Actually, I've got the ceiling at the same at 11-6. I've got them going 8-9, just like I have the Bengals going. I do have Miami's floor a bit lower, though. I have their floor at 5-12 because they do feel, from a personnel standpoint, a little bit more dysfunctional than the Bengals do.
Yeah.
The Bengals dysfunctional at an organizational level. Dolphins also dysfunctional at an organizational level, but also feel kind of dysfunctional at a personnel level as well. Supposedly, Tyreek Hill is now, like, for the first time in his career, realizing, oh yeah, I need to run routes better. Which, wild that he's been in the league for 8 years, and he's finally like, oh yeah, my route running, that's not something I ever paid attention to. And so we'll see if that makes a difference. You're still going to have the track team that the Miami Dolphins offense is going to be, and I think they'll have no problem putting up points against a lot of teams, but it just doesn't feel cohesive, like you said. I don't see anything special out of them. That's why I got them going 8-9. I think they'll win enough games. They have a relatively easy schedule. 11-6 is kind of my cap. Like I said, floor, I've got them at 5-12 if shit really does hit the fan.
Yeah, you're a hell of a lot nicer than I am, bub. I got their ceiling at 7-10. I don't see good things coming out of this football team. And yes, Noah, I think they'll go 8-9 hitting the overs by themselves. I think that would be a good record for them, but I just don't, like I said, just too many distractions, too many things going on, and it feels like it's bigger, something, kind of like the Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen stuff towards the end of his time with the Bills. It felt like something bigger was going on there. It felt like those two were butting heads, and we've seen Tua and Tyreek do it now in person, and so what the hell to think that it's not happening in real time too, behind closed doors. I got their floor at 2-15.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. You got that floor low.
And I do have a flame emoji next to this one because Mike McDaniel's seat will be getting very hot towards the end of this season, I feel. I think they're going to go 4-13.
Wow.
I think this is going to be a very bad season for the Dolphins. And this team is just not constructed to win. Yes, you can have a track team, you can run all the routes, and you can throw all the bombs you want. And yes, most of the time, putting the most points on the scoreboard will win. But God forbid someone gets a defensive stop or someone misses a ball. Like, you're screwed, man. You're screwed. And I don't think that defense is going to come back and help you win any football games. So
I do think a lot like the Bengals, though, there's going to be some good value in some of these Dolphins offensive players.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you look at Achane, Tyreek Hill, I think, is going to have a bounce back year. I know he's trending in a lot of mocks towards late first, early second round. I think you got to love Tyreek Hill as a late first, early second round pick. I mean, you can get him at the end of the first, early second. I think that's a steal. Waddle's probably going to be back and having a nice-ass year, I'm sure. And outside of fantasy value, I just don't see much here with this team.
No.
Again, I think they're going to score enough. I guess, a lot more optimistic on the Dolphins than you are, AJ. I think I've both floor, ceiling, and actual got them about 4 or 5 games better than you. But which is actually, I
think this is the farthest we've been off on a team.
I think it might be the farthest we've been off. I think we've been off by a good 3 games, maybe 4 on others, but not as much as 4 to 5 games.
Yeah, But also, Noah, I've seen. I'm an Arizona sports fan. I've seen so many toxic teams in my life that I know it does not breed winning. It never does, and it never has. And so if we're starting off the season toxic, let me tell you, brother, that toxicity ain't going away because, I guess winning cures all, but you got better win early and you better win big. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Mike McDaniel, with all the great that he has done, I don't see him as a guy who commands the locker room when things aren't going well. Like I don't think he deals with it well when shit's not going well. And I think we saw that last year, and we're kind of seeing that a little bit this offseason. So I guess to your point with having him a bit lower, I don't know if Mike McDaniel and his leadership style, his leadership qualities are there. And I mean, this is a guy who got an opportunity to work in the NFL, almost fucking lost it, if not for Matt LaFleur and a couple other people in San Francisco when he was reportedly falling asleep in meetings, not showing up to shit. Like, this man almost threw away a golden opportunity, somehow gets a head coaching job, looks phenomenal his first year or two, and then shit starts hitting the fan. And I don't think he's, unless something changes with Mike McDaniel, I don't think he's equipped to handle shit hitting the fan very well.
Who was the genius Arizona had as our head coach before we had Gannon? Yes, he reminds me a lot of that bum. Good at being that second in command, but maybe the spotlight's not the best thing.
Well, we'll see. He's still young into his coaching career. I just am getting the feeling that when the shit hits the fan, Mike McDaniel does not respond very well.
Well, again, Noah, it's a good day. Today's a good day, Noah. And you know why it's a good day, according to Mike McDaniel. So, interesting coaching philosophy there. Let's go ahead and move on, Noah, to a team that I do think has a much better upside this season. Second year of Drake May, first year of Mike Vrabel. Let's talk some New England Patriots and their football team over there. Worst season I've seen the Patriots in my memory as a football fan in my lifetime. 4-13 with the Patriots last year.
I mean, they were pretty bad the year before too.
Oh, they were bad the year before too. Yeah, that's right. They were bad the year before that. Shout out to the Patriots. I guess they have been bad a while, but
they the year before that they almost Bill Belichick in his last little go around there. Well, before his last dance, scrounged up an almost 500 record with a absolute dog shit roster with Mac Jones there. I think they were a game shy of 500, missed the playoffs, and then year after were shit, and then Bill gets canned, and then they were equally as shit, if not more shit, with Gerard Mayo there, who clearly was just a diversity hire. Not that I want to go there.
He was the transition guy.
I think the Patriots have had their eye on Mike Vrabel the entire time, and we're like, hey, we can get a compensatory draft pick by hiring Gerard Mayo here, who had made zero sense because zero head coaching experience. They're like, oh, former player with no head coaching experience. That'll make him easy to fire at the end of the season.
God, haven't we seen this play run before? Shout out to the Raiders.
So, yeah, that's kind of what happened there. And now they get their guy Vrabel. We'll see what happens with it. Drake May looked okay in his rookie season.
Looked fine.
I don't think he looked terrible. He didn't look great, but, not a lot of guys look great as a rookie, so.
No, and it was just some of the better quarterback play that Patriots fans have seen in the last couple of years since Brady left. And so I think they were just excited, like, oh, wow, we might actually have a guy here.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be okay this season. I think they're going to be okay. We'll see how Stephon Diggs does coming back off of that injury. He's had ample time to recover. That happened in, I think, week 5 last year. I've got their floor the same as the Dolphins at 5-12. I do have the ceiling a little bit lower. I think everything clicks. They go 9-8. Probably miss the playoffs by a game or two, and I don't think that's anything to hang your head on. Realistically, I've got them going 7-10. I think the Patriots do enough. They have a weak ass schedule, so that's going to be in their benefit. You stick them with Baltimore's schedule. I don't think they win more than 5 games, but luckily they don't have to deal with Baltimore's schedule. They got their own
Yeah.
schedule. It's relatively easy. I think they can muster out 7 wins.
Yeah, we're pretty close on this one, Noah. I got their floor at 9-8 as well. Best case scenario, everything. They go above 500. That's a big year for them. I got them going their floor, at 5-12. I think they're, like you said, it's just too new. First year with a lot of stuff. Some stuff may not click. I think it'll click better than the Browns, obviously, though.
I think the defense is going to look good with Vrabel in there. I don't know as much about the offense.
No, we don't know about the offense whatsoever, but the defense will look good, and we've seen Tomlin, go 500 off of defenses. So why can't Vrabel do the same thing? I do have their actual at 6-11, though. I do think they're going to do better than they did last season. I just don't think it's been enough this year. I think they've made a lot of drastic changes in the right direction, and Mike Vrabel getting his culture in place, getting his guys in there. It's going to take a couple of years to really see what a Mike Vrabel team as a Patriot looks like. And so I think it's great steps in the right direction, and they'll take those steps. We're just not at that point yet. Hey, we're back, or anything like that,
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Sweet.
And then there was one. The lowly New York Jets.
New York Football Jets, Noah. With bro, this team just frustrates me. And I don't know why. I don't know why they frustrate me. Like we sit here and we talk about bad teams and bad organizations all the time. But yet there is something about the New York Jets that just really grinds my gears and pisses me off. And I don't know if it's the consistent dumb moves. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is. It's grind. Like they bring in Justin Fields, bro. Why are we starting to make this work still? I'm sorry. Yes, he had a couple of good games with the Steelers, but obviously not good enough that they wanted to go to the antique Russell Wilson that was sitting on the bench for the rest of the season there. And now he's here with the Jets with the same shitty offensive line that Aaron Rodgers had, with the same offensive weapons that Aaron Rodgers had, with the same defense that Aaron Rodgers had. Dude, just put what are we doing? Take Lassie out and do what you got to do at this point. This is going to be close to Browns Dolphins level, I think. And it's bad. It's bad, Noah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. I don't have a lot of good to say about the New York Jets. Garrett Wilson's good. Breece Hall should be, if he can stay healthy, a good option there. Probably going to have a top 15, maybe top 10 defense. So, that's cool. But what the fuck is Justin Fields going to do for you at quarterback?
Well, I guess they don't really need to worry about an offensive line because they'll just run him out of shotgun and just nothing but RPOs. We are just running RPOs so that we don't have to worry about this offensive line.
Yeah, I don't expect a whole lot. They do have an easy-ass schedule, which still doesn't get me to a lot of wins with them. It gives me enough opportunities that they could win some games. I've got their ceiling if everything goes well. If Justin Fields is playing the way he was with the Steelers at the beginning of the season last year, 6-11. A respectable 6-11, and if they do go 6-11, I will call it a respectable 6-11 for the New York Jets.
A gentleman 6-11.
I do think their defense is going to keep them in quite a few games. I've got their floor 3-14 just because I do like this defense a lot. There's a lot. There's gonna be some games on their schedule, especially with having an easier schedule, where their defense forces 2, 3, 4 turnovers. And that's going to win them those games. So I don't see a realm of possibility where the Jets are going 0-4, winning 1 or 2 games. I think 3-14 is the minimum because again, they do have a pretty fluffy schedule. That being said, I don't have them much greater than their floor. I've got them going 4-13.
Yeah.
I think they'll win a few games here and there against other shitty teams, and at the end of the day, they go 4-13. Are probably picking 4, 5, 6 in the draft.
And I do want to mention, no, yeah, I agree with you. They do have a good defense, but even the best defense isn't good after a long drive and then their offense going 3 and out. You know, like, and I just have a feeling that we're going to be seeing a lot of that out of this New York Jets team. Maybe not long sustained drives by the opposing offense, but long enough to where the boys are out there for 3-5 minutes, and then Justin Fields and the boys come out there and go 3 and out for 30 seconds. Boy's going to be gasping for air in the second quarter. I mean, shit.
Yeah, well, they do have the benefit here, AJ, and this is what I was talking about schedule-wise. They have the benefit of playing the Panthers at home. They get the Bengals on the road, which they probably lose that one, but they have the Browns at home. Obviously, 2 games against the Patriots, 2 games against the Dolphins. They get the Falcons at home, and then they're at the Jaguars, at the Saints. So you talk about those, 8 or 9 games? Yeah, you figure they should be able to muster 3 or 4 wins out of those 8 or 9.
Is there a bet out there that the Jets go 0-3 in the first 3 weeks?
I don't know that anybody's going to give you that.
Pittsburgh, Buffalo, at Tampa. Oof.
You're not going to get good odds on that. They're not going to be favored in any of those 3 games. The back half of their schedule, the middle and the back half of their schedule is where they start getting some winnable games. I wouldn't be surprised if the Jets start like 1-8, but then somehow end up with still 4 wins on the season.
4 wins somehow. I could see it.
Yeah, they go 1-8, 1-9 to start the season. Then you start getting into those games against kind of the Browns, Falcons, Saints, Panthers. Like it's like, okay, you can maybe make a case that the Jets will win some games in there. And I also think they could very well split with Miami and New England.
I don't know. New England will at least be harder, like a hard-nosed team comparatively.
I'm just saying hypothetically, but yeah, because Vrabel's going to be having them playing that way. Miami's going to be playing soft as shit because
that's what you do in Miami.
Not from the coach, but yeah, I don't know. I think they'll win some games. All
right. Well, I agree with you, Noah. I have them pretty much exactly as I have the Dolphins this year. Got the floor at 2-5, ceiling at 7-10, and I think they'll go 4-13 or something around there. Just not a lot of upside, not a lot of movement in the right direction. Just it seems like a smorgasbord of a team, the island of misfit toys, for lack of a better term.
The offense does. I think the defense is a cohesive unit. And you have a defensive coach in Aaron Glenn coming in there.
True.
I wouldn't be surprised to see the Jets, which is also why I've got their ceiling at 6-11. I think if Aaron Glenn comes in, takes all these really good players and pieces with the defense, instills his own defense there, and if this is a top 3 or 5 defense in the NFL, that's how they could get to that kind of 6-win mark. Or maybe even 7 at that point if they're a top 3 or top 5 defense.
Ooh.
However, that's a cap for them. I just don't see the offense producing enough to make this a playoff team, regardless of how fucking good the defense is.
No.
It's just not going to happen. The offense is just not there. So it's like if the defense is not top 5 and they're sitting at 8, 10, 11, 12, whatever it may be in the defensive rankings, yeah, this team's going to win a couple games, but it ain't going to be a lot.
Nope. That is for sure. Well, Noah, that is the end of our 2025 division review. I don't know. We've never really settled on a name. Yeah, division breakdowns. I don't know why I think we haven't settled on a name when we have settled on a name. But anyway, anything else on NFC, AFC East, AFC North, anything like that?
No, that's all I got. We'll be back at it on Wednesday with the BMW championship.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Continuing into the second round, of the PGA FedEx Cup playoffs with the BMW and then the Tour Championship the week after. We will have all coverage for that coming up this Wednesday. You're not going to want to miss that. And look for us next Monday night with some college football preview action, breaking down the AP rankings that came out today and more. I'll also be live later this week with some fantasy football mock drafts. Maybe I got bored last week. No, I'm not going to lie. My wife was out of town all week. I joined about 4 different public fantasy leagues.
I saw that you were sending me all these drafts, and I'm like, all right, do we need to take Kyler Murray in every single one of them?
I only took him in those 2. I had Jalen Hurts dropped to me in one. That was pretty hype.
I'll let you know a secret. You know who I'm eyeing up for my quarterback, which I do take an unconventional approach. For anybody listening, AJ knows this. I took Baker in the 13th, 14th round last year. I had Jared Goff for 2 or 3 years in a row before that. You know who my quarterback is, who I know I'm going to be able to take no problem this year?
Please, let me hear it.
Bryce Young.
I'm
gonna take him late as fuck. And he's gonna put up top 10, top 15 quarterback numbers this year.
Ooh,
and I don't have to take a quarterback until the last couple rounds, and Bryce Young's gonna be my guy. I'm here for a big breakout year for Bryce Young.
Hell of a strategy, Noah.
Because my normal guys, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, they're gonna get drafted too early.
Maybe I'll bite. Maybe I'll bite tomorrow. I'll do one team with just that strategy and draft Bryce Young late as hell.
Oh yeah, just take him don't even worry about a quarterback. Load up on your wide receivers, your running backs, anything else, and then at the very end, right before you take a defense and a kicker, you just pop a little Bryce Young pick.
Bryce Young, Tyler Loop, Bills defense. Final 3 picks.
Yeah. Hey, I think Bryce Young's he's gonna have a hell of a year. Fair
enough.
Again, one of my hottest takes, my number one hot take coming into the season was Panthers win the NFC South.
Which they could. It's wild. They could.
T-Mac, Adam Thielen.
You know who I'm seeing go really earlier than I thought? Emike Egbuka. I've been seeing him slowly start to climb up draft boards, and at least in the drafts that I've been a part of, he's been going a lot earlier than I thought should go.
Yeah, well, Baker Mayfield's going to be a top 3 fantasy quarterback this year
for sure, because
you're talking Mike Evans, Chris Godwin coming back. Emeka Egbuka is going to be a phenomenal addition to that, and then you got the 2-headed monster in Rashad White and Bucky Irving. Baker's going to have – he had a hell of a year last year. He's going to have a hell of a year this year, fantasy production-wise. So
for sure.
I just feel like he's going to go a little too early off the board for what I like.
I agree. No, I agree. Baker has been going fairly early. So,
which, I got him around 13 or 14 last year. Half of my league had already drafted backup quarterbacks before I even took one, and Baker was there, and he was my guy. I had my eye on him. And I have gotten my quarterback every year for the last 3-4 years. So I'm thinking Bryce Young's my guy this year.
I like it a lot. Well, I think that's all we got tonight, Noah. Like we said, we will pick up on Wednesday with the BMW Championship. I'll be live periodically this week with some fantasy football drafts. But yeah, hey, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to everyone watching on Rumble, YouTube, and X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons, hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. But thank you again for listening and watching. I, of course, am the Brofict one, AJ. That is the Money Train, Noah. And we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.